The Yakuza games are so beloved, with the live-action series coming out soon, I thought I should watch the original live-action movie that everyone seems to have forgotten about, except for me. The original movie follows Kiryu through the events of the first game, where he and Nishiki, brothers in arms, fight each other to see who really is a true dragon, a goldfish or a dragon. And before the franchise got seen as like a funny little meme guy, we got Edgy Majima.
But I'm always deadly serious. This is the part where you're supposed to laugh! You stupid motherfucker!
Who kills people, and Kiryu, who kills people too. There was a time, chat, where Kiryu murdered people. It was in the first game, not the sixth game, unfortunately, as much as we all like the sixth game. And my hand is broken. Let's go! The Yakuza Like a Dragon movie starts off in a prelude without focus on Kiryu or any known cast members of the game franchise that anyone's excited to see in this, but focusing on a bank robbery by two comedic duos of people who are too incompetent to actually steal. You know, like a comedy. I love my life sometimes. Unfortunately for them, the bank has already been drained of all of its finances, leaving them with nothing. Zilch. Nada. Oof. And thus, there are cops just across the street waiting to jump them, but they're afraid to because they have guns. As you can tell, this is a world of Japan, not a world of guns. Keep it over there. By the way, I did the calculations. 10 billion yen is only $68 million today. The poor value of yen. It just keeps dropping. Will it ever have value again? No. We then cut to Kiryu, finally, after like 15-ish minutes, who is fresh from jail, and he's on his way to a convenience store, where he's then jumped by a group of Yakuza boys who want to beat up the guy out of jail. And then, Kiryu does the normal Kiryu thing of being in a random street fight with some random people and beats the living shit out of them. Poop, 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 poop. This movie shows how much they love the homage to the gameplay mechanics by having Kiryu perform a heat action in the movie. It's exciting. A big aspect of this movie is that it's really, really hot. And this is the hottest day in Kamurocho. Now, you see, this is a small reference to the fact of global warming and how the Earth keeps getting hotter and hotter in Japan. I'm kidding. This is a reference, actually, to the little-known fact called heat actions, where Kiryu performs really strong moves. Now, there's only 2 heat actions in the movie. 3, chat. We're gonna see 3, which is honestly a lot for an hour, 50-minute movie. For some reason, 2 of the standard buys from this fight steal from the register that Kiryu was fighting at, and thus a subplot begins of them robbing random stores around Japan. The movie spends like a good 30 minutes of this time on these 2 couple. Are they cool? Are they interesting? Do they have deep lore, deep connections to the franchise for how much time they've committed to these characters? No, they don't matter at all. It's kind of stupid, honestly. It serves no purpose. Honestly, they were the worst part of the movie. We spend so much time on this movie about this couple for no reason. They don't really add much except to the idea that Kamurocho is a dangerous place full of criminals at every turn. But I got that when Kiryu got jumped buying dog food. You don't need to sell that to me by having a random couple going around with a knife, scaring people, and the cops do nothing because they're all busy trying to stop 2 bank robbers who are just eating sushi at a bank and bleeding out for how too hot it is. Kamurocho police are really pathetic in this movie. I guess the Kamurocho police are always pathetic because they don't ever do anything about the rampant crime over the course of like 8 games of the Yakuza franchise until, I think we get into spoiler territory about like the lore about how cops in Yakuza franchise are useless except for Date, who is a Chad, by the way, which we'll get to later on. But let's cut to someone far more interesting and the reason you play these games. Majima. So, we get Majima, and he's not as loud as he is in the games. He's not as high-pitched as he is in the games, because this was before we had the Majima we all know and love. But this Majima, he has the crazy down to a T. Then his love of baseball, which does not come back in the other games as much, is played up to the nth degree here. He has a baseball base as his base of operations. He's just batting away. He's having the best time of his life. And he's then told, Kiryu's out of jail. And Majima's like, yo, Kiryu-chan, let's fucking go. We're gonna go beat that motherfucker up. And his boys are just like, there's 10 billion missing yen. And Majima's like, You know, IT guys, they got like all that money. They got like 10 billion. It's not a big deal. 10 billion, not a lot of money, bros. I don't care about 10 billion you missing yen. I want to go see my boy Kiryu. While hunting down Kiryu, he goes to the information dealer, who's not the florist. He's some other Japanese guy. Actually, he's a Korean. It's a big plot point that he's Korean. Even though Yakuza 2 hasn't occurred yet, and that's when the Korean Mafia actually becomes a thing in the franchise, this movie came out before it had come out. And so it's kind of loosely follows the events of the Jingwon Yu. Even though the Korean Mafia serve little to no purpose in this movie, like they're a subplot, and for some reason that goes nowhere. Like there's just a Korean guy later on who kills another guy, and it's a deal for some reason. A lot of the issues, it doesn't focus on Kiryu at all. It does, but for a little bit of it. The rest of the movie is like, Kamurocho's a messed up place. There's crime everywhere, sort of thing. But going away from the Korean Mafia, Majima goes to hang out with the Korean informist, who he just tortures to get the information he wants instead of paying him, because, you know, Majima. From every line performance, this dude who's playing Majima, 10 out of 10 performance. He is Majima at every point. Outfits for each character are near perfect in this adaptation. Many video game movie adaptations, they have outfits that are the characters that kind of look like it. You know, it's like 50%. You're like, that's cool. They took the outfits from the games and made it in real life. And that is so nice and rare because it's never done one-to-one. Kiryu's wearing the exact color of gray and the red shirt that he always wears. Haruka's wearing her white jacket and her red skirt. Majima, he's got his snakeskin jacket. Now, he's not shirtless underneath it, but I think that's just because he didn't want to be shirtless on the hottest day in Japan. Actually, that makes more sense. This makes no sense. 0 out of 10 movie, 0 out of 10. Kiryu is also portrayed still being bad with technology for his 10 years in jail, yada yada. I'm glad it's still here and how important it's a character aspect of him, and he should never be good with technology ever, chat. Date uses his connections. By the way, if you're curious what Date was, he appeared with the cops again in the movie and just abused the fact that he was a high-ranking cop to learn that Kiryu's back in town and where he's at, and then just goes off and like abandons the cops to figure out the whole, you know, bank situation. So he just leaves, meets up with Kiryu, and they're like, let's go, buddy, let's go. Kiryu, my boy, we're so back. And Kiryu's just like, Date, I need help. I need to find a girl. And he, you know, Date's like, what girl? And, you know, Date and Kiryu's just like, this girl's mom. And she's like, okay, who's your mom? And she's like, your mom. Haruka, like, does not help him at all, even though, like, they're both trying to help him out. And then he's just like, oh, I know where she is. I know her sister. So let's go to Selen. They go to Selen. The entire place is destroyed. Though we do get to see Selen in live action. That's really cool, considering how important Selen is to the entire franchise, that it's Kiryu's bar. That's where Kiryu and Yumi, you know, hanged out for a bit. Even though Yumi does not play any role in, like, any of the games, except one, but barely. After the bloodshed, oh yeah, Majima goes on a rampage trying to find Kiryu, beating everyone up in town, leaving, like, survivors, but very in pain survivors. He kills a few people with a gun. You know, it's what he does. But after Majima commits, you know, bloodshed, violence, and war crimes, Date learns from the cops that there's city showdown because no one can stop them, I guess. The movie doesn't spend too much time with Kiryu. He gets a lot of screen time, but a lot is spent on the rest of the cast and these other, you know, side stories, I guess you could say. But, you know, during the first hour, we do get a great fight with Majima, where Kiryu and Majima meet up, and it goes pretty violent in the batting cages. Majima, Kiryu beating each other up. Majima's just as crazy as ever. There's this funny scene. I'll just play it. And of course, they fight in the most iconic place, the baseball location from Yakuza 1, where the two of them duke it out. And Majima pulls out a knife. I love when where characters do their iconic poses. It's a small thing, but it goes so far for me. I think it's just portraying love of the source material. And then they in the middle of the fight, they cut away to the, you know, the thief couple for some reason, and oh no. I don't care that they're, like, having, like, issues, like, maybe crime's a bad thing, maybe we should do crime. I don't care. I want to see Kiryu be sad. I want to see my boy be a sad boy. And I want to see Majima be a crazy boy. And I want to see this lovey-dovey couple. They're not a cool lovey-dovey couple. They're too nice. Actually, they're pretty awful people. Who cares about them? But now we can get back to the legendary fight between iconic rivals Kiryu and Majima. Boys who know nothing but violence to solve all their answers. God bless Kiryu. Actions like this is why I love Tokusatsu. This is like everything I love about Toku right here. This fight scene, this energy, this hype. If you're Toku Twitter, if you tell me this isn't Toku, I'm gonna beat you up. We're going down. Fight me, IRL. You know where I live, all of Florida. Let's fucking go. Oh yeah, the two thieves are then caught by the Yakuza, yada yada yada. Who cares? The adaptation kind of falls flat as a lot of aspects of the Yakuza 1 plot are kind of missing, like the florist, the importance of Nishiki. By the way, Nishikiyama, we're about halfway through the movie right now. He has not appeared. Now, for those who don't know, Nishikiyama is the main villain of Yakuza 1. As the main theme of Yakuza 1 was how Kiryu and Nishiki were on similar paths, but fell into the realm of becoming like a dipshit. Kiryu became like the Chad idealized Yakuza. Nishiki became literally a Yakuza, you know? Crime boss, doesn't care about anyone, literally is here to fuck people over and get bitches. Even though he's got Yumi, who was Kiryu's girl. You know, he's a bit of a cheat, a bit of a badass. I miss you, Nishiki! Why did you have to die? Spoilers, I guess, for a 20-year-old game. Fuck you. You should have played it by now. It got re-released. It got released like 8 years ago. You should have played it then. Yeah, but Nishiki hasn't appeared yet. Nishiki, by the way, when he appears, it's at the end of the movie for the final fight. Nishiki doesn't appear at all. There's no context. They barely mention that Kiryu and Nishiki were brothers and best friends. It's never brought up. It's weird that the main villain feels like it should have been Majima and not Nishiki in this movie because of their relationship is so much stronger. I believe when Majima says, "You're my best friend, buddy," I don't believe that when Kiryu says that to because they don't have any interactions. They just fight. It's a great fight, and we'll get to it when we get to it. But Majima appears so much more in this movie than Nishiki. Majima has like 2 fights with Kiryu, multiple sequences. Nishiki has literally a fight and like 2 lines of dialogue. Yume gets more dialogue moments than Nishiki. It's really bad. I think I like literally summed up that entire plot point and much better. For the 2 small-time criminal subplot, we learn later that the girl is in a lot of debt. You know, the plot that we care about. I'm leaving the eyes like that. Why are they part of the movie? They don't matter. No one cares about them. I guess you could refer that the idea is that if you do a little crime, it will corrupt your entire soul or some bullshit. Who cares? At least Kiryu's fight in the bathhouse against Majima is glorious yet again. By the way, Kiryu's at the bathhouse, you know, hunting down Yumi's location. Majima comes back and they're like, "We gotta do this again, buddy." And Kiryu's like, I'm just trying to find her mom. So Kiryu does the most adult thing one can do. He says, "Haruka, we're being shot at. You gotta walk through that fire field. You gotta go through it. It won't hurt you." He does not want to hurt children. And so he doesn't. It's really funny. They send a child through a battlefield where bullets are flying everywhere on the hopes that they don't hit her before Majima says, No, guys, we can't shoot a child. We can't shoot. Wait, I don't think I can say that. Guys, we can't let this child be hurt. We can't let the child be hurt. This movie's great. This entire bathhouse scene is fantastic. Just Majima pulls a Deadpool and he just holds the body up. It's great. Like, this movie's a vibe. This movie is a vibe. This is the kind of movie you get high to or drunk to, and you just enjoy the experience. Because it's not... this is supplementary material. This movie is really good if you've already played through Yakuza 1 and you know these characters, or at least Yakuza 0 and you don't care about Yakuza 1, and you just want to experience Yakuza. As a standalone movie, if you don't know anything about Yakuza, these movies kind of suck. But, like The Phantom Menace, this movie gets better the more you know about these characters. Is that making the movie intentionally good? No, not really. They're kind of bad. They're kind of all bad. But, well, no, Phantom Menace is bad, but this movie, kind of good in some moments. There's like these 10-minute chunks. The movie's fantastic. It's like, this is the vision. This is like, could have been the best thing ever. I mean, not the best thing ever, but this could have been like a solid like 8 or 9. But instead it's like a solid like 5. And it depends on how you rate movies. I don't care how you rate movies though. I rate movies on a scale where 5 is like, it was fun, you know? It's not like a 7. A 7's like, that was a good time. Like Deadpool 2, which you should also watch. That's like Toku, right? I don't care. That's calling it Toku. Special effects, superheroes, blowing up shit. It's Tokusatsu, baby. See you next week. By the way, during this fight, it's when I realized that Majima's eye patch is on the wrong side of his face. Boy, I hope someone got fired for that blunder. Simpsons reference, let's go! I feel like I'm high while talking about this movie. This is honestly my favorite recording I've ever done. I'm just having the best time of my life. I gotta do this more often. Just find a cool movie and just talk about it. After, like, I wrote the script earlier, I'm talking about behind the scenes stuff with people who literally won't care, and this is gonna be covered in the video. Well, the fight ends. Cosmo shoots Majima, leading into the final fight, the Millennium Tower. The place where it all starts and where it always ends. Because a Yakuza game can't end without a fight on the rooftop of Millennium Tower. that would be a crime against humanity. Or at least on a tall building. They gotta be shirtless. So, as we expect, Kiryu goes up and no. He doesn't rip off his shirt. It's ripped off by a helicopter flying nearby, which is just as badass in my mind. Yeah! The CGI is really, really bad, but it was also 2007, and I don't care. This is probably a low-budget movie. So, Kiryu marches on in, and then, finally, we get to see Nishiki, and he looks old as fuck! Like, look at this man. He's an old man, but that suit... That's the suit from the game. Yo! Now Kiryu, Nishiki, they go up and they start fighting each other to the death. And Kiryu's like really tired. Because, by the way, this entire movie takes place in the course of one day. So he's gone through multiple fights. He's beaten up. And he's losing the fight against Nishiki pretty well. Until then, they drop the health potion. The ultimate Stark, the stamina Stark thingy from the games. Which is really cool, because it's not really an iconic aspect of the game, but it is something that appears in all the games. It's the health item that gives you all your health and heat. And he goes into heat mode, and he starts fighting, just like the game! And I thought, that's so cool. When do you see in movies where the characters use the health potion that everyone uses to, like, spam themselves through fights? It's really cool. And if you're saying you don't do that because you're, like, a pro gamer, and you want to prove yourself for not using health potions, the movie they did it! You're wrong! Who fucking plays Yakuza to be a hardcore gamer? I'm being real. These games aren't that hard, except on legendary difficulty, I guess. But why would you play them on that hard? For the platinum, I do too. I play these games on the hard difficulties for the platinum too, buddy. Except I've only platinum like Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2 because I like the easy platinum, so I'm a baby. And 5 intimidates me to platinum. Because that could be in the video. I'm not actually gonna talk about my platinums. I don't care. You should platinum a game, chat. And yeah, after that, Kiryu beats Nishiki. Yumi is like, you know, I gotta blow up this money for some reason. I forget why. It's not really brought up during the movie either. The plot of, like, why the $10 billion went missing is that Nishiki took it all, I guess. Also, Nishiki's the one who sent the Yakuza after him. I don't know why. They don't barely explain it. This movie doesn't explain shit. You have to play the games to know the story, which sucks and is not the way they should go. Oh well, doesn't matter. It ends, and Kiryu is safe with Haruka. Nishi's dead. Yume's dead. They both die from the explosion, and then all the money rains down. And, you know, that crime couple that I told you about that doesn't matter? You know, she gets shot by a Yakuza guy for stealing money from the wrong people. Who cares? She's like, I'm dying. What? I should have gone for the money. And she's like, and her boyfriend's like, Yui, I'll steal this money for you. And so he just goes, starts grabbing all the money up. He's just grabbing it up. He's gobbling up all the money from the $1 billion that fell out of the sky. Because she needs like $700,000 or something. Who cares? But like, I'm gonna gobble it up for you. I'm gonna gobble up for you, Yumi. I love you. It's not important. I don't care. And the two bank robbers, they see money come out and they like take off their things and they're like, it's raining money. And they're like, finally we got money from this rob. This wasn't a stupid plan. And then they get arrested. The end. Woo! The first Yakuza movie. The first live-action Yakuza movie. And it's okay. I think I explained it well enough overall. It's an okay ride. Like, put it on with some Yakuza friends of yours, have a beer or two, and just have a good time, you know? Don't think about it, chat. Don't think about it. Or think about the implications. That's how we're gonna end. We're gonna end right there. I was definitely in the right head to, like, record it like that. That was great.